Today I'm going to share some artist books, books that are hand-bound and created as the artwork is the entire book. Some of them, like this one, I took an old painting on a canvas board and made my own book inside. And each one of these is a landscape painting that I had cut from another piece of paper so that I had each landscape in this book would all be the same size. And my binding here was when I was first learning, so it's not so great, but I still enjoy the book. This one is with alcohol ink, but most of the others are with gouache, and this is watercolor. I also have this one. I forget the name of this binding, but it was pretty cool. But this, the spine moves, it's loose, it's not really attached, so the book can open flat. I don't know if there's another purpose for that, but this paper, I marbled that paper using oil paint. So I took some oil paint, thinned it a lot, and floated it on top of a small pan of water and set in the paper very quickly, lifted it out, and had some really pretty patterns that came about on this one. This is also the same type of book as the last one. I cut paintings out. The apple and the pear were when I very first started painting in 2015 for a 100-day project. So they're significant to me. Some of them are abstract. This is paper that I made. I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not, but it is embossed and it's handmade paper. This was some experiments with acrylic paint and rubbing alcohol or isopropyl alcohol. Another one of my marbled papers. This was a linoleum block that I carved. This is alcohol ink with gel pen over top. Another alcohol ink. This is oil paint. This is a monotype with intaglio ink. I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Alcohol ink, and these were some of the cut papers that I did. So quite a variety in that one. Since I gave you some cut paper, I'll show you these ones. These were cut paper that I created. Again, this is paper that I marbled. And each one of these, it's an accordion book so that it can sit on a shelf like this if I wanted it to. And each is a hand-cut statue with a bird on it. So the statues and the pictures of the statues that I got were from Unsplash. This was from Paris, a gargoyle on Notre Dame, I believe. And this cutting took a lot of work. So as much as I enjoy this book, and I do have another one that is in black and white, I won't be doing much of that again. Very intricate. I had a little swivel knife that I was using. Again, this is birds, and this is a flower. Got an owl, another bird, and another. I really liked when I set this on the shelf that it really creates some cool shadows, depending on how the light is coming in. Also, old paintings that I cut to make into covers. And this one is also another accordion book that I bound. This one has a fabric on the front, not a painting. And these are all cut from alcohol ink paintings. Each one of these was a painting that I cut and collaged in as a flower arrangement or potted plant. And I think they look pretty cool, and it reminds me back to when I was doing a lot of alcohol ink experimenting and painting. So just a few of those. That one we've seen, that one you've seen. Here's another cut paper that I did. This was probably the first one that I did. You can see that it was, the cuts are not as intricate. And as I got better, I was able to cut more intricate patterns, but I also took a lot more time. This is a book that I made along with a class, a 30-day class on Creative Bug with Faith Hale. So we marbled these papers, we bound it together. All of these papers were made in the class, and each section was a different idea that we were working on. This one is in March of 2020, during the beginning of COVID. And this was a painting, and I cut out these little windows and typed out the things that were going behind it. So it could be a timeline of anything. It didn't have to be COVID, but that happened to be what I was going through at the time. So this was a little sort of a pocket where you could add something in. So each one of these was a different format, different ideas on how we could make pages in the book using different kinds of papers, different mediums. I carved this linoleum block and stamped that. This is a fold out gouache painting. Just a mind map of things that were going on. This is Turkish map fold, I think that is called. A pop-up. Another map fold. This painting, I did that outside in gouache. Marbleized paper. Here's another one. I think this really was supposed to pop it up and down, but that's come apart. This was a monotype that I had done of a horse fountain in Bruges, but I wasn't using it for anything else, so I cut it for here. And I thought this was interesting when I looked at this morning. It says, this is a piece of trace monotype print of a horsehead fountain Elizabeth and I saw in Bruges. I wonder if and or when traveling will become normal again. And that was March 29th, 2020. And the spinner can go around, and I had put it on 5 years, 2025. So I was wrong, because I think most people are traveling back to normal again. This was a cool pop-out map. This was a pop-up house. And lots of different pop-ups. I think that, oh, this is the last one. So this is something I also learned on Creative Bug with Faith Hale. And this is a clamshell covering for the book. And I just used some thick card that I had, so it's nothing fancy. If I were to do it again, I would use probably nicer paper. And this was an accordion book that I created, all about terrariums. So each page is a different terrarium, and then the back I have written some things. So that's it. Those are the books that I would call artist books that I have created, and I hope that that sparked some ideas for yourself. I'll see you, or I won't see you. I'll talk to you next week.